Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Apple Watch Series 11 and compare it against the Apple Watch Series 5 and see which particular Apple Watch is a better one for you. Now, the thing I can definitely tell you between these two watches is that if you have all the money in the world, the Series 11 is a far better watch to go and pick up than the Series 5. I think the Series 5 still has some character. I think there's still some reason to go and buy it, but it definitely makes a lot more sense to go through and buy something like an Apple Watch, Series 11, or maybe some other comparable watches. Now, if you want to pick up some of those watches that I would recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there, and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular watches. Both these watches are very interesting. The Series 5 originally came out a couple of years ago, and the thing to remember here about the Series 5 is that it's a little bit of an older watch. On the front side of this particular watch, you're basically going to be getting a 40mm or 44mm size. So it really isn't that bad of a size. It still is going to look pretty good for the most part. And if you're in the market and you're trying to go through and pick up a particular type of, watch, these watch sizes still hold up fairly well for the most part, and I do think that right there is going to be a pretty nice thing to keep in mind there for this particular watch. Now with the Apple Watch Series 11, you do get a bigger sized watch, which is a nicer type of thing to have here. So with this type of watch, you're basically going to be able to go through and get a 42mm or 46mm watch. So that right there is going to be a pretty nice thing to kind of have and kind of experience there as well. So it is going to be kind of a nicer advantage for that type of watch because it is going to hold up slightly, ever so slightly better on that type of watch compared to some of these other ones. Now, the brightness is also twice as bright on the Apple Watch Series 11. So if you are trying to get the watch that's going to be slightly brighter, then something like the Apple Watch Series 11 is giving you 2000 nits of peak brightness, with the Apple Watch Series, the Apple Watch Series 5 is giving you 1000 nits of peak brightness. So that right there is going to be another advantage for something like the Apple Watch Series, 11. Now, when it comes down to the heart features, there's two features the Apple Watch Series 11 is giving you that the Series 5 doesn't have, and that is the hypertension notification and the blood oxygen application. You are not getting a blood oxygen application or those, or the hypertension notifications inside of the Apple Watch Series 5. So that right there is also going to be a disadvantage because if you're trying to go through and get a watch that is going to be giving you better types of experiences from that side, that is also going to be another advantage for something like an Apple Watch Series, for something like the Apple Watch Series, 11. Now you're also getting these sleep tracking notifications on both, which is great. However, the Apple Watch Series 11 gives you sleep apnea notifications and a sleep score as well. So that right there is also a slight advantage for something like an Apple Watch Series, 11. You're also going to be able to go through and grab a vitals, app, tracking, so you can track your vitals, and you can go through and you can have your temperature sensing. So that's another good advantage for the Apple Watch Series 11. The Series 5, just does not have that type of feature set inside. When it comes down to their, kind of their features, their built-in capability, the Apple Watch Series 5 is giving you the S5 chipset inside, where the Apple Watch Series, 11 is giving you that S10 chipset inside. Now, even though the Apple Watch Series 11 doesn't really give you the latest and greatest chipset, there's no S11 chipset inside of that thing, I will still tell you it's still very, very nice to get that type of capability in that type of watch because it is going to hold up very, very well from that particular side. So I definitely do like having a watch like the Apple Watch Series 11 that's going to be significantly faster and just going to be giving you better just capability in general with better battery life on the Apple Watch Series 11 when compared to the Apple Watch Series 5. So in my opinion, if you're looking at both these watches, the Series 11 is by far the better one, but there's a lot of watches in between these two that I'd also recommend still buying. Watches like the Apple Watch Series 9 and the Apple Watch Series 8, those two watches I think are very good options, and if you're in the market and you're trying to go through and pick up some watches, I think those ones make a lot of sense to go and buy. So it's kind of up to you, but if you're in the market and you're trying to go through and pick up a watch, I feel like it does make a lot of sense for the most part to go through and buy something like an Apple Watch Series 8 or 9 and or upgrade from those older watches into these ones. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. Let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.